Good Wednesday morning. My name is Lorrie. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters. Today we are talking about the sign of 4. Chapter 2 has dropped into existence, so you can listen if you want. And you don't even need to make this quilt to listen to the audio and enjoy a good book. So just a thought for you. At any rate, today we're going to talk about the next block that I am making. I did get all the quilt kits assembled for sign of 4. It did take a little bit of time. Let me talk about how I assembled the kits. Let me move this out of the way since there's such glare there. I took one of my check sheets because there were extra. When you printed off 20, you actually got 24. So I used a check sheet, and after I did my test block, I still had 19 more to go. So I took a couple shortcuts and I cut the 12 and 24 as a width of fabric strip. And with some fabrics, I only had a small piece like this left. Others, I had a little bit more left after I cut those 2 separate strips. So as I was cutting them, I noticed I didn't cross off the gray because it was the last thing. I would start with 19 and then I would subtract what I needed still because I was switching up some fabrics. I think the hardest part for me to cut, because it's the part that is not all the same, was the purple and the gray. So every week as we check in and talk about another topic in addition to just making the blocks, you'll notice there are different color squares, different colored endpoints. The cross will be different every time, but everything else is controlled. So these two pieces will be very distinctive and unusual. So now that I have all the kits assembled, and you can see, and I cut all the pieces and laid them out, somehow, and I think I'll find it. I think I stuck it in the bag. When I cut the diamond, the 2.5-inch squares, somehow I misplaced a set of 4. And I counted everything probably 3 times to make sure I had enough of the background, enough of the purple. And some of those things did not have very much left when all was said and done. So let me talk to you about unbagging a kit. I can toss that now because I have it all cut. So I labeled my kits: the week, the date, the chapter that comes down for you to listen to, how many blocks, and what my show topic was. So today's show topic was, if anybody has any questions about the pattern, I would love to hear them from you. And I did put in every block kit I made, I put a blank one. Since I did it that way, I just need to make sure I have all the pieces when I am ready to make the block. So today, I need to check off my pieces. And I see that this one has purple squares, and the big pieces are, well, they're not purple, but they are kind of, they're purple and gold for my flying geese units. And then I have the center, the fussy cut piece, and somewhere, oh no, this one is, oh, there they are. I was gonna say this one is missing the 4. There they are. Calm is nice. My stitch and flip for the red diamond. And then I also have the big part of the red diamond that is blue. For the blue, I've got 2 pieces of blue X fabric. I have 2 pieces of pink. Now my pinks ended up being very similar, but some different fabrics. And 2 pieces of yellow. And I only ended up using 2 different kinds of yellow. Even though my original intent was to make those all scrappy, it worked out that there were enough of a couple fabrics, so it's fairly consistent also. Now for the background, I have 8 3-inch squares, 8 2.5-inch squares, and my 2 pieces of, so I have all my pieces here ready to go. Now if I weren't sharing this quilt with you, I would probably not do it this way. Diana sent me an email and she was saying that she is doing all of her centers first. And to tell you the honest truth, if I were doing this without sharing, I would probably set it up that way. I would probably do all my centers at one time. I would probably do all my strippy 4 patch and 16 patch at another time. And then I would do my flying geese at a different time so that I could, because this doesn't need trimmed, this doesn't need trimmed, but these need trimmed. So the flying geese would be done in 2 separate sessions. I would make the flying geese probably for all of them, and then I would over time trim the flying geese, but then I would have all the other units done. So I would organize my kits differently if I weren't sharing with you. And I would also, because it does take a while to assemble all the parts and units, I will today, this is how I do it. I pick a unit, like I probably start with the strip sets. I would start with that, and once I have those made, then I take a break and do some kind of housework thing I hate, and then I come back, and my reward for doing the housework thing I hate is to do more sewing. So that's how I usually deal with it. That way dishes get done and things get done other than just me sewing. So that is how I am going to work on this today, and I will share some pictures of this block in units and all finished up. I hope you have a chance to listen to chapter 2 today and enjoy it. If you have any questions about my pattern or anything sewing in general that I can help you with, please let me know. So as part of my making the block today, I'm trying to figure out patterns on how I can lay pieces out now that I know I have them all. So I've decided that I could take the blue and lay another blue, the short blue beside it, and then the 2 pinks. So blues, pinks. So those are the cross fabrics. And then, of course, only one of them matches up with the 24-inch strip. And I know that I can put the 24-inch strip with the pink out here on the edge. So the background strips go on top of the edges. And then in the middle, I have the yellow fabrics. So if I lay it out that way every time, then I won't have to worry about patching, and I might remember well enough that I don't have to check back to the pattern every time. So then I go to my flying geese that I am pairing things up. Of course, I've paired this up, the stitch and flip already. That's the easy one. So then I take my 1, which is around the center, and I know it's going to touch the inside parts of the cross. So I put for the inside parts of the cross with the 1 in the center. Then I take another one. I know that there are flying geese. The points of the flying geese touch just background. So I put 4 background squares with one of the flying geese squares, or one of the outside points of the cross squares. Then I have 2 more left that are going to be flying geese, but they need 2 colors of background. So I know that the other 8 3-inch blocks, 4 background and 4 of the inside of the cross, go with these 2, and they will be the 2 different colorways of sky. And so that pairs everything up, and I think that I'll be able to remember that from week to week as we assemble the blocks. Last week I had a great time using the flip and stitch units as the in-between, so I didn't have to use the thread blob. And I'm going to do that again this week because it worked so well. I think my favorite unit to piece is this one, because you don't have to meet seams here. You don't have to meet a seam here. And it is ready to put into the quilt. Oh, by the way, the question I asked about patterns a couple weeks ago, I will share those results on Friday. I hope you have a wonderful day and get to sew and sew and sew and sew. See you on Friday.